Hi, this is Anshu. Let's do some more practice of our fundamentals in this video. This reference is from Unsplash. We are trying to focus on lines, angles, proportions, and use these elements while simplifying it. So what's happened so far is the portrait is in side profile, right? So all I've done is simplify the features into one straight line and have covered the whole skull area in a similar fashion. Now I'm guessing the point where the jaw meets the ear, the end point of the jaw. So we are able to keep our proportions in check, something that needs to be done at every stage of drawing. Blocking in some hairline pieces as well as the shape of the ear. Now let's see where can we draw our features in. Finding the line of the forehead, followed by drawing the curvature of the nose, capturing the angle of the mustache, curling outwards and then coming back in to meet the lower lip, and then drawing the volume of the beard at the very end. Finding those lines, those shapes which define the nose area or the cheek area even more, and drawing the beard on the face. I will keep moving around from drawing in one place to another so I don't get caught up in the details. Drawing the details in one area only to find out the placement of that area was proportionately wrong does happen all the times. So I'm trying to compare, reminding myself to stick with bigger shapes initially and keep moving around in the drawing in hopes that I don't make the same mistakes I've made plenty of times before. Observe the eye. From the eyebrows to the shadow being formed underneath the eye, we can very much draw that as one big shape. This is what simplification is. We don't have to start drawing with the details from one end and draw till the other end like a printer. But keep moving around in our drawing, packing a lot of things into one big shape, overlooking the details. And when our proportions look believable and we want to work with the details, focus only on that shape like we did with the whole reference before, moving from block-ins to minute details. So ideally, if we see any mistakes right now in this drawing, we will fix them before the details even get to be in. Using wavy lines to establish the flow of the beard and the mustache, we are trying to give some texture of fine hair to the facial hair shapes, which were looking very plain and rigid before, so that it looks a lot more realistic. I guess I didn't see any mistake with that eye shape and decided to go with that. Here I am positioning the eye and other shapes I'm able to identify and drawing them inside the eye shape. Erasing the unnecessary parts of the drawing, I have decided to add some texture to the subject's curly hair now. Curly hair or even wavy hair is a bit harder than just simple straight hair for me. And I'm not even talking about different hairstyles yet, especially when it comes to rendering, because of how complex curly hair can be. Now I'm drawing the neck and the shoulders. A very easy to spot mistake here is that line running down to the subject's right shoulder is a bit higher in the drawing, but I am guessing I missed that completely while practicing. Not following any particular order, I'm just doing what feels natural and trying to communicate a sense of flow for the hair. Although it is a bit daunting to do, as you can see, I am repeating some of these lines and it is not looking too good. More corrections, some additions, some erasing and redrawing. It is hard to get everything correct the first time you do it. It kind of never happens. You start seeing things more clearly the more you observe the reference. Its proportions, shapes, lines, angles become clearer the more time we spend practicing with the bigger shapes first. So when we get to the details part, we get better at guessing and drawing. Of course, sometimes that means taking a break to be able to see things differently with fresh eyes. Drawing anything else, I'm noticing at this point, sometimes improving the hair, other times fixing the facial features, or the shoulder, or the clothing, which is a small part of this drawing. Because it is a small portion in this portrait, we only have to deal with a couple of folds on the reference's right side. Only goes to show that I need more dedicated studies for practicing the folds in the clothes. We can always incorporate those shadow shapes into our drawing at this stage, as we have done previously in other videos too, so it becomes easier while doing the values later. These shapes can help us arrange not only the darkest value, which is typically the easiest to spot, but also decide the areas for our light or darker midtones and the highlight. This is what I'm trying to do here. Now I've started with values. I always start with laying the flat values down in the whole reference, making it a two-value system. Darkest value being the easiest to identify, like that of the nose, the eyes, most of the beard and the hair, but it should include the midtones too. This reference being black and white definitely helps though. It seems like I'm being doubtful about covering the whole beard with a flat value. Looking at the details this early should have been avoided. I'm talking about putting the flat values only on the lips and the mouth area and leaving the whole mustache and the beard area outside. The whole point is to simplify even while doing the values, to start big and then add details. And so the whole beard and the hair can have this value, except for the highlights of course. Because it is not like it's going to be the darkest value of our drawing, so I would consider that a mistake and will improve that in my new studies. Now I have switched to hatching and cross hatching. I was trying really hard to complete my drawing with just that kind of shading style, and I was doing kind of good too, but I guess I ran out of patience again and naturally shifted to cross hatching. So now my drawing looks dominated by these hatching lines. But again, what matters the most is that the values are understood and placed correctly, no matter the method or the technique used, which is also not the best here, but it looks good enough for the study. With more practices in the right direction is how I am going to make significant improvements. I also kind of like how those lines are ending up giving this beautiful effect to the drawing. This is the final result. Yes, the proportions and the values are a bit off, especially the values in the shirt area, and the hair is not dark enough. There is variety in the values, but not the right use of them in some of these places. Overall, I really liked this. This one made me feel a little better about my skills and I enjoyed making it. I hope you guys are practicing your fundamentals too. Thanks for watching. If you've got any feedback or want to share your opinions, please do that in the comment section down below. You can also check out my other videos on how I have been practicing my art fundamentals. See you next time.